Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Fringe Coverage. This podcast profiles the stories, swings, and stars of the LPGA Tour. And whether you're new to women's golf or a longtime fan, hopefully this podcast helps you develop your own rooting interest in women's professional golf. And we have just wrapped up the 2026 KPMG Women's PGA Championship, and Haeran Ryu is your 2026 champion. And here to help me break it all down, as always, my guy, Tommy Boy. What's going on, man?
Marc, all my sports teams are in the dumps right now. I'm glad to talk about a sport that makes me feel happy. So yeah, looking forward to diving into this tournament with you.
Which sports teams are in the dumps right now? Give me a little high-level overview.
2-3 to the Dodgers. The Red Wings captain is demanding a trade. Michigan basketball just lost their head coach. The Lions starting corner just got arrested, maybe for life. It's not looking great right now for me.
But hey, how are Tom's Titans doing?
Tom's Titans are cleaning up. Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's going to be today or next week, but we really got to give the fans a breakdown of just the epic proportion of beatdown you are giving me this year. But we'll get there. I said it from the jump. We just finished up the third major of the year. Haeran Ryu. I got to stop doing this, Tom. Her name is Haeran Ryu. Her last name is spelled R-Y-U, pronounced U. That's the last time I'm butcher it. Haeran, if you're listening, I'm sorry. She wins by 2 eventually over Ina Yoon and 3 over Davey Weber and Brooke Henderson. Really, really entertaining tournament. Tom, what are your big takeaways from having watched? I imagine probably the most you've watched of Haeran this year.
Absolutely. I was not familiar with her much going into it. And even, going down the leaderboard on Thursday, I just go, okay, some of the same names over and over. And then I didn't see her, didn't give her much thought. She was 10 back as of Thursday. So, I watched a little bit on Thursday, didn't get to see much Friday and Saturday. Was at a softball field all day long, even Friday. Who needs to work? And then for her to come back was incredible. The thing that captured me the most about her was her effortless swing. Her swing is so smooth looking. It's more of an upright swing. She's not like leaning over. She's not super, it doesn't look like she's really driving the ball too hard, but it's just, everything is just smooth. I mean, there's no other way to, like, it looks so pretty. And I want to go to the range, and I just want to, like, as soon as I saw her, I want to go try that. I want to go and club down or whatever. And, I know I'm not going to be able to swing it that far, and just pure it every time.
That was my first note as well. Is she is a ball striker's ball striker. Like, she has always been one of, if not the top when it comes to like greens and regulation and approach and an iron game on tour. Sometimes she's had a squirrely driver or putting, things that have set her off track, but she is like known within the LPGA circle as just like, that's everything you just said. Like, that swing is certainly effortless, but like, it reminds me of a PGA Tour swing in certain regards. Like, there's so much strength that comes through that upper body. Like, the person I kept thinking of yesterday was Rory. There was a real, their ball moves a ton, but like, they stay so stable and steady through impact, especially. Like, she compresses the heck out of the golf ball. She put on a clinic. She was rock solid today. Was really curious how she was going to come out, having slept on the lead. So here's a bit of a play-by-play. As most people know, the main storyline going into the week was, could Nelly win her third straight major to start the season? And Nelly stalled out to start the round. It looked like it was going to be not a story. She played decent golf the first few days, but not something that was putting her in serious contention. She shot a nice 68 on Friday, but then right around the 7th hole, she goes birdie, birdie, par, birdie, and throws herself within, I can't remember if she got within 1 or 2 of the lead, and everyone just started, the buzz around the course happened. I think I even texted you saying, she just birdied 3 of 4. She's in the fairway on a par 5. And then, talk about kiss of death. Like, in that, she ends up parring that hole, does not get an eagle or birdie look at it, and really just kind of stalled out the rest of the way, had some bad bogeys, and then a really bad kind of careless double, maybe when she was already out of it. But I appreciate that, because when I'm projecting here, but when someone is having a year like Nelly is, and she finds herself 4 shots back with 4 to play and you're doubling a hole, it's usually because you're just firing at pins. Like, I don't care if there's no difference to me between 2nd and 11th place here. Like, let's go for glory. Where some people, like, that's going to be their biggest payday ever. It's going to be a big deal for their ranking. Nellie's number 1, even if she missed the cut this week. So I love that she decided, like, hey, I'm going to take the risk here. And she got caught with her hand in the cookie jar on 16, especially. That was where she bombed a drive and just missed the fairway. She was in the deep rough and had a lob wedge in. And dunked one in the water, which ultimately was part of her undoing. But
she's built herself so much goodwill and such a big buffer because of the first 2 majors that she can just go and, it's not a big story that she didn't perform at the peak of her game. It's not like a Gino thing where you go, when is this finally going to happen?
Yeah.
Nelly can do whatever she wants for the next probably year or 2.
It's so true. It's so true. And like, throw on top of that, like, she kind of has the Scotty thing going for her of, like, she had a bad week and she was T8. Like she's it right now, man. Like, and there's no one close. Like, for a while I was like, okay, let's see. You and I have been pleading for the Gino Nelly. Ain't nobody chasing her right now. Like, she really is in a stratosphere, and we'll get to it in a bit when we get to recapping our picks. But I got to remember, this major gets funky, just like the men's PGA. It's especially without us having looked at the weather in advance. As soon as it got soft, we had to realize a lot of skills were going to get kind of neutered in the process, and it was going to become a bit of who's just going to hit greens and who's going to make a few putts. And the cream didn't necessarily rise the same way. It's still a great leaderboard, but this was a funky one. And as I look back at my pick, it all becomes clear in hindsight, right? It's like, oh, what am I doing? This was not the week that Charlie's game was going to separate.
So you make this point occasionally. So when the weather really starts picking up, scores tend to go lower because the greens are softer.
So it depends on what you're talking about with weather. So they're 2 very different things. There's rain and there's wind. Rain just makes a course super soft. The greens can't absorb all that water, so they get soft. So people can just start throwing darts and they won't rip off the greens because they're not firm and fast. And
you're just putting faster. You're going to have to putt harder.
So they're rolling slower in general. But the bigger thing is your approach game, right? Is you can be more aggressive, because if you go right at the pin, there's less likelihood it's going to take the big first hop and trampoline off the back of the green. Wind is very different. Wind is what I always want, because wind means you have to learn how to control your ball flight, your trajectories. You have to flight things down. Your wedges become a little bit more challenging because those are normally ones that you loft in the air. But you know better than anyone how much you like to hit your wedges high. You have to hit a different shot when it's in the wind. So I really like seeing that. And Hazeltine did have that. They did have good wind, but unfortunately, that skill wasn't paid off as much because they were playing into soft greens because it had rained for 3 days. So even though some people had to flight things down, even if they didn't quite hit their mark, they got away with it because the greens held it.
Okay. Usually whenever it gets close to rain, I just cancel my tee time immediately. So It's not something I ever deal with.
Yeah, you and I are really like, oh, good, I'm going to go pin hunting today because it rained yesterday. We're different scale. So kind of in terms of the chasers that were in this tournament, some new names. Really, the big name that came out firing on Thursday was Ina Yoon. So Ina shot 9 under at Hazeltine, which I believe was an LPGA record for this tournament. Again, that was right after all of the rain, so she really benefited from that. But everyone played the same course, and she went and got it. Talk about another person that kind of in the category of I was not familiar with your game. Ina was certainly that for me as well. To put it in perspective, she climbed an outrageous amount. She climbed 22 spots with this, so now she's in the top 20 in the world. So Ina was already a top 40s golfer, so someone that we probably should have had our eyes on. But Ina had to play with the lead after Thursday, and she had the lead again on Friday. She backed it up with a 69, had the round everyone expected her to have on Saturday, shot the 75, brought everyone back into the tournament because she was running away with it, which as a viewer we want. But she really acquitted herself well today. She was playing with big crowds. She had Nelly in and around her the whole time. And she She played really well. She ends up getting solo second, cashed a big putt on 18 for solo second. That's got to be her biggest paycheck to date for sure. But they said it on the broadcast. She seems to have a game that's going to last a long time on the LPGA. Bombs the ball. Absolutely bombs the ball. Tom, I really like this girl's fit yesterday. She was wearing all black top with kind of like a dark blue skirt and matching blue socks. And black visor. It was a sharp look. It was the first thing when I turned it on. I'm like, who's wearing dark blue and black today? Because I don't really see those two very often.
Yeah.
I knew you'd like that one.
No, I actually don't care for that.
Wow, you're not a blue and black guy.
You want me to be the villain of this show? I don't. You don't need navy and black. Sorry.
Oh, it looked so good. So good. Well,
when I looked at the score after Thursday and she was 9 under, I was thinking to myself, is this an easy course? I mean, I know you were saying that the weather is going to be a big factor here. And I go, well, she's not going to, is anybody going to be shooting 30 under at the end of this tour, but at the end of this tournament? It was just, not like that at all. Is this just something where do you think that she's tightening up, or that was just an aberration and that's something that no one's going to be shooting that low once the weather dries out a little bit?
So, it's a lot of those things. So, when you have a full field on Thursday and Friday pre-cut, you have a lot of people you have to get through the golf course, which means as a course setup thing, you are trying to avoid carnage to a certain degree because you cannot get everybody through if there's just going to be train wreck after train wreck and triple bogeys. So, historically speaking, pins and tee boxes are a little bit easier on Thursday and Friday to get people through. So that is why you never see the 9 under on Saturday and Sunday. It's always those opening rounds.
I've never thought of that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so they have so many players to get through that they just can't push the course. And most course superintendents and tournament directors will tell you they try to build a cadence with their course Thursday through Sunday, with Sundays when it peaks and it's at its firmest and fastest. So the players have to adjust with it as the week goes on. So that's the first part. Is the course was at its easiest at the beginning of the week. It was going to be at its easiest regardless. It was at 9 under easy because of the rain. 9 under would not have been there had it not rained that week. That would have been a 6 under round any other time because with what they had planned. To your second point, she did tighten up. Absolutely. Now all of a sudden you're playing with the lead because you change your mentality. In the beginning, if you're Ina Yoon, you're excited to make a cut. You want to play the weekend, and all of a sudden you find yourself with a giant lead after round 1. And then you go to bed, you talk to your caddy, you say, okay, same game plan tomorrow? Do we just aim for the middle of the green? And probably on Friday you say, let's just go for it again and let's see what the course gives us. But once you get to the weekend, there is probably some discussions about picking your spots and showing patience. And if you were 9 under, you were obviously being very aggressive and making putts. If you change any of that, who knows what happens in your musculature, all the things you're doing differently in your swing, all those things are connected. So honestly, I'm surprised it took till round 3 for her to have her bad round, but she shot 63, 69, 75, 70. I'll take that 10 times out of 10 in major championship golf because ain't nobody shooting 63. Look, she shot 9 under and she finished in round 1 and she finished 11 under. I think if you had asked Ina at the end of the day on Thursday, will you take 9 under right now? Will you take even par the rest of the way? I think she would have taken it and ran.
Yeah.
So another new name to us was Davey Weber. Don't call me Dewey. So Davey from the Netherlands played some really entertaining golf. I'll tell you, they gave her some horrible broadcast coverage until really Sunday midday. She didn't get much love, but this girl's an athlete, man. She's got a move on the ball that you could just, there's no way golf is her only sport growing up. She just had that look of an athlete to her. She made some bad mistakes mid-round and you kind of thought she was dead in the water. And then she had some amazing bounce backs. She made a really nice birdie on 17 that I thought might get her solo second, but then Ina beat her on 18. But Davey really, really impressed me. And it's a name that we should holster. I think next week we're going to talk about this a little bit more in detail. She rocketed up the rankings, dude. She climbed 128 spots in the Rolex rankings with that finish. So again, she finishes T3 along with Brooke Henderson. That gets her in shouting distance of a Solheim Cup look. So I don't think she's going to be in that Remember, it's the top 2 from the LET and then the top 6 out of Rolex, and then the rest are picks. I think she'll be in pick range for Coach Nordquist to look at her. Had never even heard of her, but she seemed like someone that maybe had some killer instincts that you're always looking for on that team. So keep an eye on her. Just rounding out the top 10 for everyone. So again, Haeran wins. Ina gets solo second. Davy and Brooke get tied for third. A nice grouping at tied for fifth. Allison Corpuz, Austin Kim, and Allison Lee. Triumvirate of Americans there. Allison is playing good golf. I think we might want to start calling this a podcast bump at some point. I think we might want to take credit for this, but Allison's...
Hey, Marc.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Okay, great. I'll holster that. Austin, really, really excited to see her get another top 5 in a major. I think she's building, man. Like, she's the girl that can bomb it. Now she's starting to refine those other parts of her game and is finishing T5 in a big major. Really good. And then Allison Lee. Look, I mean, it can't be said enough. She's 7-8 events back from motherhood, and has played really well in majors. She was a leader in one of the rounds at Riviera, I think maybe coming out of round 2 or round 3. So for her to have got her game back in form for major championship golf, I'm not sure I was ready to see Allison competing at this level. I thought maybe she'd be competitive at the regular week-to-week LPGA tournament circuit. I did not see her flirting with top 10s and top 5s in majors right off the bat. So good for her for getting back into form pretty quickly. And then rounding out the top 10, very interesting grouping of tied for 8th. Se-Young Kim, who remember was right there at the U.S. Women's Open. Gino Titicun sighting, a top 10 for her, but again, a very non-competitive, was never in it, leader, top 10. Nelly Korda and Alim Kim. Alim had a brutal Sunday. She shot 74, and at no point did she look like she had her C game. So really tough ending for her. But that was your top 10, and then just a couple other notes. Karis Davidson, Miyu Yamashita, Gabby Lopez finished T12. Gabby elevated 20 spots on Sunday, shot the round of the day, shot 68 in some tough wind. And then Lydia Ko also made a nice charge on the weekend. So those are kind of the players that had their names at some point in the leaderboard.
So there was news that came out yesterday or something. I don't know if you follow the World Cup or paying attention much. South Korea had an unceremonious exit. I think they were expected to do a little bit better than they did. The president of South Korea came out and started criticizing the coach, and he's saying we're going to have to review the funding that we put toward our athletes for our national competitions and all that. Four South Koreans in the top 10 for the KPMG, including the top 2. So. Hey, shout out to South Korea. They're doing something right, at least with the ladies golf. Maybe not with soccer, but
Hey, take it a step further, man. If this guy's threatening pulling the funding for soccer, give it to women's golf.
There we go. The coach quit. He's like, wait, what are you doing? You're blaming. I mean, all that. It's
tough culture to be wrong. Tough culture to if you're not succeeding. And you know what? This was something I was thinking about, knowing that Solheim Cup's on the horizon. It does bum me out that the Solheim Cup in the LPGA is U.S. versus Europe, because we're going to get there. You got to go way down the Rolex rankings to find the 12 best Americans and 12 best Europeans. What we need is, like, you think about the Aussies, you think about the entire Asian contingent, you think about how many Japanese, how many South Korean, not to mention running in from China. Like, there's so much talent that doesn't get to participate in it. The men's game is well set up because the U.S. and Europe make up the vast majority of the best golfers in the world. The women's game is so much greater, more international, that it bums me out that I almost think the LPGA would be afraid to build a Solheim Cup-esque event that would have the South Koreans or Southeast Asia or some, because I think they would just immediately build the Yankees. And they'd be afraid they'd never win. You know what? I think that's great for women's golf. Like, have some story where they're, you got to come get them. Like, you just said it. Like, they are always at the top of every leaderboard, especially when the golf gets hard. So
I mean, the International Crown is a pretty fun event.
Yeah,
I would love something like that where we could get more people involved, more of the best players in the world. It would probably take a lot. It's a big undertaking. I mean, I know you and I were talking about maybe sponsoring a tournament. So maybe this is it. Maybe we got the Fringe Cup.
Perfect. I love it. I love it. Just a couple notes about Haeran to kind of put a finer point on her round. So first off, this was very well documented, but kind of I imagine in a purposely private way. This was Haeran's first start in a month since having a medical procedure. So again, they didn't go into any detail, but she had a surgery and was out for, I think they said 5 to 6 weeks, and this was her first start back. That's pretty impressive. Also, throw on top of that, she swapped putters after round one. Hated her putter, couldn't make anything round one. Imagine just being like, I'm going to wake up Friday morning, try to throw something new in the bag, and then just go win a major. That's pretty special. You mentioned it earlier. She was 10 shots back after round one. That's the largest opening round deficit ever overcome to win this event. And with this win, she has now won in each of her first 4 seasons on tour. So that makes her the 7th player since 1990 to do that, again, to win in each of her first 4 seasons. The other 6, Kari Webb, nice, Grace Park, Yanni Sang, Brooke Henderson, Se-Young Kim, and Jin Young Ko. Those are like the class of the LPGA, past and present. So good for her. And then again, in typical Haeran fashion, you mentioned her swing. She led the field in greens and regulation once again. So just a really, really solid performance. I kind of wish it was less solid because it would have made some for more drama on Sunday, but there's no doubting who the best golfer on the course was at the end of the day yesterday. And I always think a tournament's done its job when it's identified that, because I think Haeran would have won anywhere with that game.
Now, is this a blip, or do you have her winning again this season?
Sure. Yeah, I do. Especially, the surgery thing is interesting. I'm not sure the depth of that and whether that's something that is a one and done and now she's fine. Obviously, she played well, but is there any lingering stuff there, whether it was more performance based or something else personal? So again, there could be so many things there. I think Haeran has another major in her, quite honestly, and we're going to play a game here in a little bit that might ask questions of you of similar regard. But yeah, I'm definitely buying up her stock right now. I think that's it for down the leaderboard. Just a couple notable missed cuts, which probably leads into our picks. So Minjee Lee, see ya. Charlie Hull, my pick, see ya. Hannah Green, defending champion at Hazeltine, out. Lottie Wode, Lauren Coughlin, Chizzy Ewai, Yalimi No. Angel Yin withdrew. I haven't read up on this yet. I mean, we're going to have to talk about Angel at some point here, but that's a long list of like the who's who of the LPGA that didn't play the weekend. That's tough. That's tough for ratings. Thank goodness Nelly and Gino were there. But that's going to be tough for ratings. So I mentioned it. I picked Charlie to win this week. With hindsight, man, I just don't. As soon as I knew there was bad weather, I shouldn't, or wet courses, that's just where Charlie's really good on firm and fast. And a soft course just brings everyone back into it. And it was just a bad pick. And I think I wanted to get swept in finally picking her. But as soon as mine missed the cut, you automatically won with your Ronnie Yin pick. Where did Ronnie end up? I didn't even look.
She was, yeah, I gotcha. She was T37.
Jeez, man. Yeah, so she shot she shot 71, 73, 73, 72. So, I mean, she only had, one round under par, which, again, on a course like that, she was course average. Man, not a great week for our picks, but you continue to dominate any version of pick games we've had in recent history. So good on you, which also means, oh, man, I just realized you get first Evian pick.
I do.
Because we don't have a tournament this week. For those of you listening, wondering what the LPGA action is this week, there is no tournament. They have an off week because they are traveling to France for the 4th major of the year. We are in major season right now. So it's going to be a little bit dormant on the tournament action here over the next week and a half. But we'll come back with a preview next week. Tom, I got some funny notes that just kind of empty the notebook, empty the clip here. Did you watch till the end of when Haeran sunk the final putt?
Yes.
Okay, so a couple of things. First off, I love how many people greeted her. Like, can you tell she's popular on tour? Sometimes you see 1 or 2 people. There were at least 10 players that I counted that came out there, including Megan Kang, Allison Corpuz, a ton of the South Korean contingent were there. Talk about something that's different between the LPGA and the PGA. Imagine Scotty winning and 5 guys. Like, at best, you maybe see someone waiting behind the green for a quick handshake as they go to sign their card. Mm-hmm. Thank goodness we have somewhere in sports that people are still just showing outward emotion. Like, it was so refreshing to see her just get doused, and you could tell she was a bit stoic all week. To kind of see the smile break out and all of her friends around her, like it reminds you how much of a traveling circus this is and how much they pull for each other. Really, really cool.
It's a little different, I think there was a bit made that, Victor Wembanyama didn't do the handshake line at the end of the NBA Finals and all that. That's a little bit more, hand-to-hand combat. They're
Sure.
fighting with each other on the court. This is something where this is more or less an individual sport where you're competing against other people, but what they do doesn't necessarily affect what you do. So it is a little bit easier to root for them. They are, like you said, traveling companions, probably on similar flights and staying at similar hotels, and there is a little bit more friendship with these players, and I love seeing it. I think that is so cool that they go out and do that kind of stuff.
For sure. Similarly, in the post round, as Haeran's walking off the green, obviously we just mentioned there's a lot of people wanting her attention, giving her hugs, and there's a shot kind of shooting over Haeran's shoulder, and Commissioner Craig Kessler is waiting on just like a side hill, kind of waiting for her to have her moment with people, and he kind of just offers her a quick fist bump. Like, he obviously doesn't want to get in the way of her celebration. And I don't know if she didn't see him or if she saw him and then got distracted, but right at the moment that Craig goes to offer the fist bump, someone in her periphery starts like screaming and trying to get her attention. So obviously her eyes kind of drift there, and Craig had to do that very awkward, like just pulled it back and like Homer Simpson into the into the Ivy look. I laughed out loud when I saw, because again, he did nothing wrong. He just got kind of someone else bested him with their energy levels, so we had to pull back. Hopefully, I'm sure Craig got his moment to say congratulations to Haeran at some point, but it was. Part of me thinks the LPGA wanted that shot of the commissioner there getting a fist bump with the player, and it kind of backfired.
That happened to me on Saturday, and it's like one of the worst feelings of the world.
You were greeting someone after they won a major?
I was greeting somebody after they had won a championship, like going to, congratulate them, and they were walking dogs, and the dog kind of like pulled him away, and I just kind of was stuck out there with my hand just waiting for that shake, and I said, well, at some point, I'm just going to turn and walk away. There's nothing I could do here. Tail between my legs.
At least it wasn't on national television.
True.
It was a funny look. And then just a couple, something I was very nervous about that I'm happy to report I didn't have to be nervous about. We didn't mention this, but the final round was delayed 3+ hours on Sunday, which triggers every piece of scar tissue I have of certainly at the beginning of this season with Tournament of Champions and having called after 54 holes and the heat that the tour took for the way they handled that. You and I have seen rain shortened events last year, I think in Arkansas and a couple other places, and we've seen the LPGA be quick on the trigger to either call an event or push it. And you texted me saying like, hey, what's going to happen here? Like, is there a chance that they call this? And the good news was, because there's no tournament next week, even if it was just a deluge and they needed to go next day, they could have played Monday. But invariably, what they ended up
is played Monday morning too. So it's like we need more competition for.
And that's what got really interesting and why I got nervous was as soon as I saw a 3-hour delay, we knew that the Travelers Championship on the PGA Tour was going at the exact same time. They were also experiencing weather delays and had the potential for more weather delays later in the day. And look, there's only so many people seeking out golf content on TV, which means there's only so many places for it to air. And the original schedule was for the women to be on NBC and finish up, while the men then went on NBC and the Champions Tour went on to Golf Channel. And I went, oh God, if we get to this point now where the women are in the window where the men were supposed to be playing on NBC, they're going to want to push the women to Golf Channel, but then there's going to be some Champions Tour BS and they're going to put the women somewhere else. I was happy to see that NBC did a bunch of shifting and they got the women onto Golf Channel, which again, not NBC. Let's call it what it is. Like, it is not. At least they didn't get put behind a paywall on Peacock. They did move the senior circuit, the Champions Tour. Which, side note, did you see the name of that tournament and who won it?
I know that it's called the Dick's Open, right?
You didn't see who won?
No, who won?
Dickie Pride. I swear to you, Dickie Pride won the Dick's Open.
Get this
all
guy
of that.
A sponsorship at Dick's.
Yeah, like for life. Wow. For life. Yeah, I could not believe any of that. Just the Dick's Open is funny enough for a Champions Tour event, much less that Dickie Pride won it. But I'm very glad that Dickie Pride did it on a network that was not competing with the women's coverage of their major. So good on the networks. That's a tough situation. I'd love to flame them for not putting them on broadcast, but they got dealt a tough weather hand, and I think that they did the best they could. And then my last note, my takeaway, and Tom, I love me some Mel Reid. Mel's becoming a broadcast star. I have been so impressed. They've kind of cast her in a similar like Johnson Wagner, Smiley Kaufman role on the PGA side of recreating shots after the round is done of like, wow, here's the weirdest shot we saw today. Let's throw Mel out there and have her retry it. And she's done really well with that. She has a really good kind of responsive personality, can kind of roll with things, also understands what we're looking for as fans and can kind of play to that without getting slapsticky or anything like that. But some things that made waves earlier in the week, I think this was Wednesday, she was chipping because they were showing how tight some of the runoff areas were. And she was standing with Commissioner Craig Kessler, who's getting a lot of attention on this podcast, I'm realizing. And Craig's in a suit. And Mel is showing, Craig had a wedge in his hand and he was just chipping around, and she steps up and this is on live from, so she's on a headset and she's like, all right, let me show him how it's done. And she just chunks the thing, like not being funny, just straight up hits it maybe a foot in front of her. It was rough, pretty much laid the sod over the ball. And it made its rounds. She got flamed, and it was pretty funny. And so, like, I think maybe that was Tuesday. On Wednesday, she's out on a practice round with Charlie Hull, who's one of her close friends. And Charlie is kind of pretending to give her chipping lessons. Like, hey, I saw what happened on TV yesterday on Live From. And she's like, all right. Mel says, let me redeem myself. And she goes to the exact same spot and chunks it again. And she like falls to her legs. She's like embarrassed, but realizes she's on TV and has to kind of play it off a little bit, hits another chip that looks normal and gets out of there. But then for the rest of the week, man, she was doing such a good job. She was really on. She said something to us on the podcast that I registered that I wanted to see if she was going to back it up. She said like, hey, I will criticize players. And if I think they're doing something wrong, or if I think that's the wrong play, I'm going to say something. I'm like, man, it's one thing to say that. It's another thing. Like, how do you actually choose those words in the moment? Because those players need to trust you the next week on tour when you're asking questions of them. And on the 16th hole today, it was the drivable par 4. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember who was on the tee box, and someone pulled iron, and one of the broadcasters teed up Mel to say, like, what do you think of this? And Mel's like, I don't get it. What is she doing? She didn't make the golfer sound dumb. She said, on a day like today where it's drivable, it's not that much of a reward to lay back and have that full wedge in here because it's a hard shot. She was very pointed in her remarks about this is the wrong day to not pull driver, and doubled down on it a couple times when the next player also chose iron. And then I can't remember who it was at the end of the group who pulled driver. It was someone who bombs the ball. And Mel literally like on air went like, thank you. Like, it was very funny. Like, she's showing very real personality and something that can be a little bit static. I'm not a huge Morgan Pressel fan. I just don't think she adds much to the broadcast. She was a really good golfer and she understands golf. But I just don't think, I think she talks over moments sometimes. And I think more than anything, she doesn't find a way to enhance my viewing experience. Every time they said, Mel, what do you think of this one? I found myself like making sure I was listening to what she said, because she was offering a very unique perspective on either the shot or the set of circumstances or whatever. So really, I don't know what their long-term plan is for Mel. And we should have asked her whether she prefers to be in the booth or walking alongside players, because her skill is definitely being with players. But I wonder if she was still doing her rookie hours, if you remember on our podcast. I wonder if that's walking the course to eventually get in the booth and maybe phase out the Morgan Pressels of the world, or are her rookie hours more just a reference of how crazy the travel schedule is, and maybe she gets a little bit more pick of the litter of what her schedule looks like moving forward. Selfishly, I want her on the course because I want her to become the bones, like what Jim McKay for the men's side does. I'd really like to see Mel be the resident expert on what they're doing out there. So did you catch any of her during that last stretch?
Yes, I love anytime anybody's showing any kind of personality. That's what we are here for. There's been a lot of online coverage of, Zlatan and Thierry Henry kind of flaming Alexi Lalas constantly, and that's what's kind of getting people to tune into people are tuning into the World Cup regardless, but that's a little added bonus to it. And if we can have somebody who's on air giving their opinion, not hot taking. We don't want people just to say, dumb stuff just for the sake of saying dumb stuff. I don't enjoy that part of the sports discourse at all. But if there is a knowledgeable person who can walk the walk and knows what they're talking about, yeah, give me that all day long.
Yeah. So just a couple news and notes from kind of the fallout from the tournament. So with Charlie Hull missing the cut, Lottie goes up to number 4 in the world. Man, she still has not been on tour a year yet. Haeran moves to inside the top 10. She's now number 7 in the world. She was number 12. Minji falls out of the top 10, and Ina Yoon climbs 22 spots up to be, I think, 18th or 19th. She's now in the top 20. So really, really good week. Again, I wish we were sitting here talking about how close Nelly came or how much she won the 3rd major of the year, but I think this resets the deck and makes it really fun for the rest of the year of what we look at the rest of the majors. So I think we each have a couple games and things we want to touch on here. Where do you want to go first?
So I was thinking about our podcast, as I normally do, it's top of mind. And I was thinking about how we can get more people on our podcast, more interviews. And I was thinking if we could somehow pull some data and tell these players, hey, when you appear on our podcast, your game goes through the roof. So
okay.
I pulled some data, Mark, and I'm here to share this with you. This is what I call the Midas touch. So I looked at our last 5 player interviews, and I looked at their round that they played before interviewing with us and the round that they played after interviewing with us.
Like specifically like the last round of the last tournament and the first round of the next tournament?
The entire
tournament. Okay.
So I wanted to know, after speaking with us, after getting our insight on LPGA and the game of golf in general, are we propelling them into the next stratosphere? Are we helping them out?
Uh-oh.
The results might surprise you, Mark. So we're going back to our interview on February 6th with Brooke Matthews. So this is early in the season, right? The last tournament she had played before this was a CME back in November. She shot a 5 over. After interviewing with us at the Honda Thailand, 15 under.
Okay. Oh, so we're just going straight numbers. Like we're not talking about placement. So it could have just been like a hard course versus an easy course here.
Mark, we're not doing that.
Okay. So we bested her by 20 shots. I'm with you. Okay.
Madeline Sagstrom, February 11th, Tournament of Champions. Weird tournament, right? We can't take too much from that, but she shot 1 over in that tournament. And then the Founders, a month later, we now know that she's pregnant and, maybe going through other stuff. Golf isn't top of mind. She went 2 over.
Okay.
So she dipped. We didn't help Madeline in that one. Melanie Green went from 9 over to 3 over after interviewing with us.
Okay.
Allison Corpuz, you gave her a shout out. Chevron, she shot 2 under. In the Mizuho, she went 6 under. So we got into her head. We did something right with her. And then most recently, Hannah Green, U.S. Open, she was 3 over. And then the Meyer, she went 7 under.
Wow.
So 4 out of the last 5 interviews that we've had, after they speak with us, they improve their golf game. Now, I'm going to attribute most of that to you because you do give them a little bit of pointers here and there.
I give no pointers.
Oh, that's not true.
I give pointers on their golf game.
Well,
Name one time I've given advice.
You know what? You'll point stuff out and you'll say like, "Oh, hey, did you realize that you were like, top 10 in greens and regulation?" They go, "Yeah, I don't really pay attention to that kind of stuff." But you are implanting that seed into their head.
Oh, jeez. Okay, there's a lot.
Now, I will also say, Mel Reid, after interviewing with us, you're now saying that she's really improving, so that's good.
She's duffing chips.
I podcast. She wasn't one of the golfers I was talking about. But
this is tough.
One last point before you go. Nelly did not close on Sunday after we spoke with Grant Boone about that. So that part wasn't good. But I'm not counting that because Nelly wasn't on the podcast herself.
Yeah. That's not part of your game. That's totally fair. Nelly's off limits until we bring her on. We can take neither any blame or credit for Nelly until we bring her on. So
Go.
Did you do this based off of when we recorded or released the interview?
Recorded.
Recorded.
Yes.
So then there's no podcast bump because no one listened to it. It was just their private conversation with us.
Yes. I take it you don't think we have the Midas touch like I do.
No, actually, I think I've been thinking a lot recently about we have the opposite of that. When you think about, like, again, I'm going to remove Madeline from this discussion because of, I think we found out a week after we recorded with her that she was pregnant. But everyone else, with the exception maybe of Melanie Green, Brooke Matthews has had a horrible year by her standards. Girling Core has gone the wrong direction. Haley Cooper's had a horrible, horrible year so far. Hannah really wanted to do well in this major that we interviewed her about and missed the cut. I will say Allison Corpuz, yeah, that one I will give you. We definitely saw her starting to rise, but I think we have some work to do. But you know what? Maybe we need to be more strategic about when we interview them. If we want the podcast bump, we may want to reverse engineer this and say, when do we know they play well? And let's interview them right before that tournament. Because then we know there's going to be a bump.
I was hoping you would take this data, this raw data, and you send it to agents and players and say, hey, just a heads up, when you appear on this podcast, your scores improve.
Yeah,
so then your purse will get bigger. So appearing on this podcast will make you thousands of dollars.
That's awesome. That is fun stuff. I'm glad we're improving people's scores despite not doing anything to help their golf games whatsoever. I've got a game for you. I want to talk. Let's just play a traditional buy, sell, hold. This is your stock in these players based on what you've seen recently. You have to buy one. It's not just going to ask one player at a time and you tell me what you're going to do. I'm going to give you three and you have to tell me you can buy one, sell one, and hold on one. Any questions on the game?
I have to answer buy, hold, or sell for all three. So I can only have one buy, one sell, and one hold.
Correct. Correct. So even if you like all of them, you have to sell one of them.
Got
okay.
It.
So let's start at the top of the rankings here. The three names are Nelly, Gino, and Lottie.
Okay.
And start wherever you want. If there's an obvious buy or sell or hold on?
Well, the obvious buy is Nelly.
Okay.
I have to imagine that Nelly's price is probably pretty high.
This is stocks, remember?
Yeah. So her stock is high. I still think that she's trending. She's going in the right way. So I expect Nelly to win, I would say, at least 2 more times on tour this season.
Okay.
She's going to the Hall of Fame at the end of this season. That part is for sure. The other two are tough on me because I enjoy watching Lottie's ascension. She has the least experience out of the three, but she is kind of teetering there. I think that this might be her year where she can make the big push. And now Gino, haven't been terribly impressed with Gino this season. Again, very young and she's never going to be in majors contention with the way that she's been performing so far. It's hard to say that you want to sell the number 2 player in the world, but yeah, I'm probably going to hold on Lottie and sell on Gino. I don't like that, but that's probably
it's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would, given the fact that these are stocks, I'm buying Lottie because this is the lowest you're going to get Lottie ever. Nelly only has so far where she can go up. She's already the number 1 player in the world. She's already won 2 majors.
That's what they said about Elon Musk, and he's a trillionaire now.
Wow.
People
okay.
were like, "Oh, I'm not gonna buy his stock." And then
I can't wait for Nelly to hear your Elon Musk comp. Yeah, I think Lottie. I mean, Lottie's already won this year. I think she's going to be a top 3 favorite when we get to the AIG Women's Open. She might even be a top 3 favorite at the Evian. I'm not sure. This miscut has me concerned. I'm with you. I'm selling on Gino. I don't want to sell Gino, but given the game. But I would hold on Nelly. There's no reason for me to do anything different other than hold on to Nelly, but I would buy Lottie stock right now. So
looking at Gino, she won the Honda Thailand. She won the Mizuho. She missed the cut on the Chevron. She top 10 in Kroger and this past weekend, and then she missed the cut on the Meyer. Other than that, it's nothing.
Yeah, she's been boom or bust.
Yeah.
But again, we're getting into the part of the season where, remember, Gino eats up. Gino makes hay every year at the CME. Like, she wins that $4 million purse. Like, this is where she ramps up. So historically speaking, the last 3 years, you want Gino coming down the stretch. So again, that will be the hardest of these three, I think. I've got two more scenarios for you.
Okay.
The next grouping of three for you to buy, sell, or hold: Charlie Hull, Miyu Yamashita, and Ronning Yin. This one had my brain in a pretzel.
How are you coming up with these groupings?
What I think are fun to go head-to-head comparisons.
Cool.
To make you squirm. I think that's the criteria. Right. It's hard.
It is.
This is not something where I think there's someone you should obviously be sold, by the way. I don't want you catching all of that online heat for when you sell one of these top 10 players in the world.
See, so I guess my issue with Charlie is her lack of tournaments.
Sure.
She's made it public, both on this podcast and elsewhere, that she doesn't play in every tournament. She's ramping up for the majors. And
yet she's the number 5 player in the world.
Say it again?
And yet she's the number 5 player in the world.
Yes. Yeah. I guess I'm going to hold on Charlie.
Okay.
So now we got Miyu and Ronnie.
You got to sell one of those. Isn't that so bad?
And these are my last two picks, if I remember correctly. I think I'm going to have to sell on Ronnie. I don't like it. I don't like you. I guess I should be saying. Okay. I don't like you. I don't like you for making me choose these. Yeah, it's tough. Kind of Ronnie in the bigger moments. She's not really pulling through like I wanted. I mean, she finished T8 at the US Open. I'm selling on Ronnie. Ugh.
That one was really hard. I think you have to. I think I do the exact same thing. The reason I'm specifically buying on Miyu is, she's defending champ at the AIG Women's Open the second half of the year. She continues to pop up in majors. These three, I thought I kind of put these as the major seekers. Like, these three are always there. Like, these aren't boomer busters when it comes to majors. So it's really just like, what premium are you putting on the rest of the season? Is it just the two majors, or is it the entirety of their work? Because they're all going to be on those leaderboards, especially Miyu and Charlie when it comes to EIG. They could be the final group at AIG. Like, right now, the top three could literally be Charlie, Miyu, and Lottie, probably, when we get over to them. So those were my two scenarios for you. I have one other game that's going to be far more your wheelhouse. It was going to require zero golf knowledge, other than knowing what a cut is. I call this game the MC. Okay. So, Tom, while an MC in golf is obviously known as a missed cut, which we just rattled through all the people that missed the cut at the KPMG, I am going to give you 4 songs or artists, all from the 90s hip hop and R&B genre. And one of those MCs has to be a missed cut. You have to cut one of these 4. So again, 3 of these you get to keep. You don't have to buy, sell, hold. But one of these 4 you have to cut. They do not make the weekend of your music listening. Any questions?
Can I marry you? This is incredible. All right, I can't wait.
All right. The first one. These are 4 songs. Fill Me In by Craig David, Don't Leave Me by Blackstreet, You Make Me Wanna by Usher, or Twisted by Keith Sweat.
Okay. These are all incredible choices. Now, I will say that my least, I'm not going to tell you my least favorite yet.
I already know it.
Fill Me In by Craig David is a masterpiece.
Agreed.
I love that. The storytelling that's going on in this song. I mean,
hour by hour.
Oh my God. Yeah. Craig David, and apparently he's still going. He's still doing his thing. So good.
So
good
Craig's making the weekend, I'm hearing.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Craig's in contention. Craig's closing on Sundays. Blackstreet, Don't Leave Me. Usher, with Usher, I always go back and forth on like my favorite Usher song. You Make Me Wanna is definitely up there. Nice and Slow. Usher's just anyway. That's definitely making it What was the fourth one? Twisted by Keith Sweat.
Twisted by Keith Sweat.
Twisted by Keith Sweat might be a top 10 90 song for me. It's going to be Blackstreet. Don't leave me.
Wow.
Is that what you
Okay.
thought it would be?
No, I thought you were going to cut Usher.
Oh no, too good of a song.
All right. Okay. I got the next set for you.
To be fair, Usher is on the cut line.
Sure.
So those.
Hey,
other
this
two
isn't my
are-
game. This is all about you here. This is. I love this game. We could do this every episode for the rest of our lives and not run out of content. Because this is all just songs today, but we can also do artists on a future one. Yeah. All right. Next batch of 4. Mo Money, Mo Problems by Biggie. Feel So Good by Mace. Still Not a Player, Big Pun. Or Creep, TLC.
Also a fairly easy one for me.
Wow.
So, Mo Money, Mo Problems might have been like the first rap song that I really, really got into. I bought the cassette tape, big fan at the time. Mace Feels So Good. What a song, I was singing those lyrics when I was a kid, and I probably shouldn't have been singing those lyrics. TLC Creep, I definitely had the Red Light Special album, which was, seminal for a kid in the 90s. The song Red Light Special probably wasn't appropriate for me, and I knew all those words too.
No.
I was never a big pun guy, aside from me making a lot of puns. So that one's missing the cut here.
First of all, I did not have this in the cards for you. I did not see that coming. I'm also going to start calling you Big Pun. I love that as a nickname for you so much now that I know that A, you hate Big Pun, and B, you are a pun guy yourself.
I don't hate Big Pun. It's just you're putting him up against some Goliaths out there.
You hear to hear first. Tom hates Big Pun. All right, moving right along. From the Space Jam soundtrack, Fly Like an Eagle by Seal, Space Jam itself by QCD, Quad City DJs, I Believe I Can Fly by R. Kelly, or Hit 'Em High, the Monstars anthem.
Okay, well, personal deeds aside, I Believe I Can Fly is a phenomenal track.
I was wondering how you were going to walk around the R. Kelly piece here.
I think I don't know if I've ever mentioned on this podcast. I mean, I saw R. Kelly live back in 2012 or 2011, and it was an incredible concert.
I'm sure it was.
That's neither here nor there. The catalog that guy has, wow. Fly Like an Eagle is. I'm not crazy about that song. The Space Jam theme song by Quad City DJs is a great one. And then the last one you said was the Monstars, the Hit 'Em High. Yeah, that song was pretty good too. I mean that would be
the soundtrack is bangers only. I almost put Basketball Jones. Do you remember the Chris Rock, the baby? I was like, yeah, it's probably the one that we cut just because it's silly, but I almost put that one on there as an honorable mention.
Now that I have taken this new filter in my life where every rap or rock song I hear, I think of, would this be a good walk-up song for my son or daughter with sports, or just any athlete for baseball and softball? Hit 'Em High might be a sick walk-up song.
For sure.
Missing the cut is Fly Like an Eagle.
This was a really hard one because they're not similar genre music. Like they're all the same soundtrack, but like Fly Like an Eagle and I Believe I Can Fly, I used to get their songs confused in the beginning. I don't think you can cut QCD.
No.
Right? Like you can't cut the theme song from that movie, from anyone that is that was a 80s baby that remembers that early 90s movie. Like you're going to remember that one.
Anytime anyone says the words, well, here's your chance, I always go, do yo dance. So every single time. Yeah.
I love that. I think for me, I'm cutting R. Kelly on this one. It was probably, I don't know, 12, 13 songs on that soundtrack. It was the one I skipped the most. I remember
separate the art from the artist.
This was before I knew anything bad about the artist. Remember, this was when I was listening on my Walkman in the 90s. Because I used to, like, when I was playing basketball and I would go for runs dribbling a basketball, like to practice like my handles, because I thought that mattered if you could just like run and dribble at the same time. This is what I would would listen to. Hit 'Em High lives rent free in my head.
Yeah,
that is something that I find myself humming in the shower, like often.
We got to make a new playlist. So thank you for that.
Yeah, so you'll appreciate, you're the first person that ever got me on Spotify. And when I decided to do this game, I went back to the very first Spotify playlist you shared with me, and that's where I pulled all these songs from, because I knew, in fact, they were songs other than the Space Jam. That was a separate thing. But these are all from the Tom list you shared with me probably 4 years ago.
I still have well, thank you for that.
I thought about doing the Fringies, actually. I thought about going through our Fringies playlist from last year, from the award show, but this was a much better selection.
Yeah, we'll have to play that with the Fringies later. I have a playlist on my Spotify called Marc's New Boo, and it's all Beyonce songs, because I remember you texted me one time and you're like, I don't know any Beyonce songs. Make me a playlist.
That's awesome. Well, okay, we're going to definitely play this game again. Feel free to there's no patent on it if you want to take it in a different direction and make me a victim of the game. And it doesn't have to be music either. I just think it's a fun way to very loosely incorporate golf by having a cut with it. So, well, this was fun, man. We're now we are definitely way over halfway through the season. There's only so many full tournament fields left. We are a month away from the closing points for the Solheim Cup. So in a future episode, we're going to break down the point standings for the U.S. and Europe, and maybe kind of pull out the crystal ball and see who we think some of those picks might be that fall outside the automatic qualifiers. So we do have an off week this week. We'll be back next week with a full preview of the Evian, the fourth major of the year. I think that's all I got for today. You have anything else you want to hit on?
I'm good, man. That was a fun episode. I enjoyed it.
All right, well, hit them high, play them out, Tom.
If you have any suggestions for players or topics to discuss in this podcast, send an email to fringecoverage@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram at FringeCoveragePod. And whether you're approaching from the fairway or the rough, we got you covered inside the Fringe.